Well, jeepers! You're listening to Smash or Pass.
Hey everyone, welcome to another video on the JayBee
and
Milly channel. Today we are bringing you another review of the new Scooby Doo show.
The Scooby Doo show.
Why do we keep saying new? You started this, I'm sure you did.
Well,
and I've carried it on.
we have notes. If you keep forgetting consistently, just write it down.
The Scooby Doo show.
What is this?
First off, before we begin, we apologise there wasn't any reviews out last week. We'd kind of been to the Greater Lowell Comic Con and everything, just kind of threw that off balance a little, as well as me being ill. So we're back now with the weekly reviews, and kicking us off for the week is Scared a Lot in Camelot. So JayBee, for those that haven't seen this for a while, which I think certainly was us, and for those who perhaps are the newer Scooby fans and haven't seen it at all, can you give us a bit of a plot summary?
Yeah, so Scooby and the gang are on their way to see Shaggy's uncle, Uncle Shagworthy. But in order to kind of go along that path, they take a little bit of a detour to see Zarko the magician in their kind of magic act, which Scooby and Shaggy are very quick to derail. So obviously Zarko isn't happy with them, but regardless, it's time to see Uncle Shagsworthy. And apparently he's been able to import Camelot Castle all the way from the UK to America. Goodness knows how that happened. But as a little caveat, along with the castle, they also have Merlin the Magician and the Camelot Curse. So this manifests itself within the ghost of Merlin and also the dastardly Black Knight ghost, which kind of causes some trouble for the gang, of course. But can they get to the bottom of the mystery? Where is Uncle Shagsworthy? Is Merlin real? Is Merlin fake? We'll find out in this review.
Indeed we will. And one thing I want to kind of kick off by saying is, how did they get to Shagsworthy?
How did they get to Shagsworthy?
It's Rogers, no?
Well, I always assume it's Shagsworthy Rogers. Well, what do you call an uncle? So say, for instance, I've got an Uncle Ken, but it's not Uncle Ken, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it's not the last name. I get that, I do.
So
but for
Uncle
some reason,
Shagsworthy could be Uncle Shagsworthy Rogers.
I guess so. I don't know. It just kind of threw me off a little. I don't know why.
No,
I'm odd.
It is odd, and especially when you think about Shaggy's never been set up as being a character with an affluent background, and so when all of a sudden Uncle Shagsworthy's like Alan Sugar, he's got like 8 businesses, he's like a main manufacturer or something, and apparently has enough to not only import a whole entire structure, which is meant to be like a historical landmark, from the UK to America. Like, I want to preface this. I'm a bit of a numbskull. I don't know if Camelot's even real, so don't come at me. Well, you clarify that. Is Camelot real?
Continue.
No, is it
No,
like...
no, it's fine, continue.
Well, you're laughing at me.
Just continue.
Okay, so I don't know if Camelot's real, but I know that even if it was real, castles are massive, they're heavy, and I've imported stuff from America that has been in one box and it's cost me an arm and a leg. So what this man must have spent to import this whole structure...
I think it's more of a plot device, JayBee.
No,
I mean,
but it means that he's got money, right? And so we assume that Shaggy's from money, which has never been set up before, but it's an interesting thing. I like it, though, because as I was saying, you know, I'm a bit disappointed at the scope of some of these episodes. Like, I enjoy the new Scooby-Doo movies because they kind of were a bit more globe-trotting than the other series so far. Whereas this, it's Camelot. I understand that they want to give a plot device because America doesn't have too much history compared to, you know, the UK, which has been around since, like, the dinosaur times or whatever. I don't know, but it would have been... to me, it would have been more exciting to just have a 5-minute sequence instead of Zarko, which I know they had to set up, but instead of that...
A boat to England.
Yeah, a boat or a plane to England.
Not
Like,
only
Uncle
that,
Shagsworthy paid for these flights. Uncle Shagsworthy wants to see me. Like, that would have been more exciting, I think.
Like, it's often hinted at that they have quite a lot of relatives in England, right? Like the Sword and the Scoob, they come to England. Yeah. Daphne's cousins in Scotland for the Loch Ness. It wouldn't be too ridiculous. And even here they have to be like, oh, it's like Old England, but New England. Yeah,
it's a bit stupid that they would rather have an unrealistic plot device of importing a castle to America versus, oh, let's go on a boat.
But have you remember 2 episodes ago they had to move a building? You know where there was that one where the Phantom was on that structure?
Yeah.
Had moved a building then. It's kind of like, I'm not too sure we can do that.
But oh well, it is what it is, and I've got to say, let's start with Zarko the Magician.
Yeah, so he wants 2 volunteers, and whoever volunteers gets dinner. So Shaggy and Scooby are 100% there for it, but they get sawn in half, and as you say, kind of prove a few plot holes or a few issues with the show.
I don't know if anyone is like a foreign language speaker that's, like not English. So maybe Zarko or Zarko in itself means something in another language. But I'm almost thinking it's quite similar to Zarkos from the 2002 movie. So maybe maybe this episode kind of inspired that a bit. Kind of interesting though, but I'm not sure. So yeah, Scooby and Shaggy ruin this man's career and then just peace out.
Yeah, and go off to their uncles.
And I find it really funny that the gang are like along for the ride with that. Like they mess up and then they run and they're like, Fred, please, we have to go. And Fred's like, okay, like Fred's like the getaway driver for that.
No, but this is why you have an assistant in a magic show. You don't take volunteers from the audience.
No, you need to have like a glamorous. They should have got Daphne as the glamorous assistant.
Right, progressing on. So as you say, they go to the uncle's house, and it's a castle that was shipped over from England. As soon as they get there, they're told to leave by the caretaker because Mr.
Clarence.
This is where it confused me. He refers to him as Mr. Shagsworthy. You normally refer to him as
Really?
Mr. and then their last name.
Was it Mr. Shagsworthy?
I'm sure he said that. That's why it threw me off.
Could it be Shagsworthy? Like, it could be, right?
Really?
Like, there was this old cartoon that I used to watch called Skatoony, and one of the characters in that was Fernando. So, maybe in animation world, there's Shagsworthy, or, like, Shagsworthy Rogers of the Shagsworthy estate. I don't know. I didn't hear Mr. Shagsworthy, but I don't doubt
This is going to be
it.
a dim question. Have they, in the series, have they even said Shaggy Rogers yet?
Ooh. See, I don't know.
Because I'm going to say it's easier for people... Like, okay, so they aimed this at children. It's easier for children to only have one name to recognise someone by. So, let's say we've not actually heard them say Rogers.
Yeah, you're right.
They need to make it related to Shaggy.
That's possible, because we know the characters, we know who they are at this point. But I don't think in the chronology of the show we've actually heard Shaggy Rogers,
Daphne Blake,
Fred
Velma
Jones.
Dinkley.
No, that's a really good point to make, because you know what I mean? It's easy to watch it with the hindsight of like the kind of foreknowledge, the pre-knowledge. But yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't think we've seen Velma lose her glasses yet. She may have done once, but I don't think we've seen her.
I think so. Okay, moving back into things. So it's Camelot Castle that's been brought over to America.
So tell me, is Camelot real? Don't mess me about.
No, it's kind of that King Arthur, Knights of the Round Table.
Is that not real?
I don't think Camelot's real, JayBee.
Oh, you're Googling if Camelot's real. You will laugh. So don't laugh at me, because I know that England has loads of history, right? Like Henry VIII and whatnot, the Tudors, Queen Victoria. So to me, Camelot, like I know castles exist. Camelot isn't an obscure thing to imagine happened.
Okay, so
Arthur
to get
Pendragon.
From the official History UK page. Okay, JayBee.
I'll link it in the sources.
Most scholars regard it as being entirely fictional.
Oh, that's pants, isn't it?
There are some locations that have been linked with King Arthur's Camelot, which is a place where there was, like I said, the Knights of the Round Table and all that kind of thing. Just kind of reading this.
Because I know, is it Arthur Pendragon thinks that Guinevere's Peng, so he kills the dragon. I know dragons probably didn't exist, but is it possible it was a leftover dinosaur?
Well, it's kind of talking about its earliest reference to King Arthur is a poem dating back to 594 AD, which is the earliest surviving Welsh poem and consists of a series of references to the men of Gododin which died in battle at a place called Catterick in Yorkshire. So it's thought it could be linked to there.
I wonder, because it's Welsh, if that's why the Welsh flag's a dragon. Huh. See, look, we don't even know all of the UK history.
Well, with that in mind, there's a place called Carlion in South Wales that it's been linked to as well.
Huh.
Which isn't too far from Camelot. And bearing in mind, like, Welsh is a different language in and of itself, so perhaps translating.
So I reckon Camelot was real, and the dragon, like all dragons, I had a theory. This is off topic, but I had a
I'm
theory
going to say it's not, but you
that
continue.
dragons
with
are
your
real. Okay. But we know dinosaurs exist, okay? So think about a dinosaur, think about a dragon. They're not too dissimilar, right? So you can't say, oh yeah, dinosaurs definitely exist, but dragons, they're crazy.
That's very true.
Dinosaurs are real life canon, right? If you can call it that. So dragons, they're a similar beast. I theorize that the bone structure of the wings of the dragon and the flappiness itself probably wasn't stable enough to be fossilized as much as bones. So maybe some dinosaur bones that we found, they just are lacking the wing structure. I don't know, okay? So I think Camelot's real, and if I had a TARDIS, I would go there, but I'd have to like white up so I didn't get like prosecuted.
Have you ever seen Avalon High?
I don't think I have.
We're gonna watch it. It's about Camelot and the Knights of the Round Table and stuff. It's terrible, but we're gonna watch it.
Have you
Disney
seen...
Channel original movie.
Have you seen the Merlin TV show?
No. Okay, we're gonna continue on with this review because this has gone way off track. So they bring over Camelot Castle, and with it comes a series of ghosts that you'd kind of expect. You've got your Merlin there.
Yes.
There's also a Black Knight. Now, we always kind of talk about the villains' aesthetics. I hate both the aesthetics of these villains.
Ooh.
Nothing wrong with the Black Knight, I guess, but it's been done.
Yeah. Well...
And all they've done here is make it a bit darker.
I was almost thinking it could have been a reason. So for all we look at this in hindsight, like this is episode, 6 of the Scooby Doo show. I actually checked on Wikipedia. Maybe it's not accurate. If I could have excused it if it was like the 5th or like, the 10th anniversary of Where Are You, episode 1. But it wasn't, so yeah.
And not only that, but the wizard just doesn't look intimidating. Like, it looks like Dumbledore.
I don't know how I would make an intimidating wizard, to be fair. Like, I wasn't scared of the guy, you're right, it was just some old fart. But, like, I don't know how I make a scary wizard. I guess Voldemort? Like, you can make him look a bit like a snake thing?
Well, you can do it through colour association as well. He was dressed quite bright and... Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? He could have used colour to kind of negotiate connotations and things.
A bit, but then if you have him black, he just looks a bit like he blends into the dark background. If it's white, he looks like he's part of a hate group. Like, I agree, but I don't know how I'd improve it, is what I'm saying.
Merlin's meant to have been there to help King Arthur. It's not meant to be sinister.
Well, that's the thing. I thought because Shagsworthy may have violated the castle by moving and disrupting it, that's why Merlin's like, okay, Arthur wouldn't want this, I'm gonna like mess these people up.
I just wasn't that there with it at this point in time. And then
I would make it a bit like the Merlin from The Sword and the Scoob aesthetically, where I'd make him a bit more menacing in the face, but that kind of colour scheme perhaps. Like he was more like blue, I think, in that one.
And I guess as well, something I'd kind of mention on here is as soon as the caretaker is taken, you're like, it's you.
Yeah.
Because for this plot to work and for you to be a villain, they need you out of the picture.
Unless it's some proper hunk in the Black Knight suit who would genuinely overpower the guy, but that hardly happens.
Well, not only that, but I'm also thinking when there's been one kidnapping, there tends not to be two.
Yeah.
And obviously we're going to assume it's not Shaggy's uncle, so... Yeah, I was already kind of there with that. And Shaggy and Scooby get hypnotised in this one, where they try to hurt Fred, Daphne and Velma. Now, I feel like certainly some purists would be quite upset by this. Like, it shows it in a negative light, like the gang hurting each other, trying to cause harm to each other. Even though it was under like a hypnotised thing, still think with some people they may have had a couple of issues here.
I mean, I've got a very low opinion of some purists, right? And so to me personally, if hypnotising was made canon in Where Are You, which it was with the Ghost Clan episode, then it's excusable here because the Holy Grand showed it. So, I didn't mind it. I thought it was interesting.
I think it was used for different purposes, like Daphne being able to be superhuman doing that wire act and stuff.
That was my favourite part.
It was interesting, whereas with this, it's just with the intent.
I mean, it's more menacing, but I think they make it funny by like when Merlin's like, do something evil, and they just start like biting him, and like it was funny. But
yeah, but I feel like trying to drop a chandelier on Fred, Daphne and Velma is a step too far. Maybe Velma on some days, but not Daphne and Fred.
Yeah, but even soft kids like movies do it today.
Okay, so progressing on, they find Uncle Shagsworthy. They don't find the caretaker, which again is alarm bells. And then it's unveiled that it is the caretaker, which is Zarkos.
Yeah.
I hate this. Why? There's two villains. Why didn't they just have one to be Zarkos and one to be the caretaker?
The thing is, it was way too obvious in that there was absolutely no reason on planet Earth that the animators will have animated the character model for Zarkos, have even integrated it into the story that they'd be in a completely separate location, and we're expected to think that it was going to be completely devoid of like any connection to the rest of the episode.
How did Zarkos get there before them when they set off to run away from Zarkos? There's a lot of issues ultimately here.
And
but
I don't even think revenge was Zarko's motive. So it was just an unassociated thing. It's a bit sloppy, but
No, but hear me out here. If someone messes up your magic show, you don't go and kidnap their uncle.
Well, I mean, there's some weird. I mean, people have been done in.
Okay, how do they
worse.
know it's Shaggy's uncle?
He looks the same as Shaggy. I mean, I don't think that is his motive, is it?
I
Like,
can't remember, but it's all
bizarre.
just too convenient.
It is bizarre.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's bizarre.
Anyway, so I guess with that, JB, we're heading over to your verdict. So, smash or pass?
You know, there's not enough for me to pass this, really. It didn't offend me. It didn't even bore me. I had a good time with the episode. There was just a lot of stuff I didn't like. Like Velma saying danger-prone Daphne when they're trying to make Shaggy be magic. Like, Velma's just annoying. But you can't escape that even now. So ultimately,
You can trick or treat.
True.
Just saying.
Ultimately, this is probably
The lowest
the
pass?
lowest pass I've ever
lowest smash.
given. The lowest smash I've ever given a TV show episode. And that's about it.
Okay.
What about you? Tell me.
For me, this was a pass. It's not one that I want to go back and watch. I didn't really enjoy it. It's certainly the worst episode of this series
I
so
agree
far.
with that, yeah.
And so to that end, maybe I'm just looking at it as an excuse for it to be like, yes, I've finally passed one of this series. Because I feel like if we watch 15 episodes and say every one of them's a smash, what have we taken away here?
It's a good S tier.
So for me, this one's a pass.
Okay, so that is absolutely
Wait a second.
incredible.
On reflection, it's not it's not as bad as any of the Where Are You ones I passed.
No.
Like, it's a light pass.
We're
but
just
it's a
looking
pass.
for purists to dislike us at this point. But it is what it is. It's how we feel. It's our truth. So, we can't be penalised that heavily, I'm sure. So, yeah, that is kind of it. There's going to be more reviews coming out. Like Millie said, we're going to kind of get more consistent with this, especially over the kind of holiday period. So we'll see how it goes. We'll do community news every 3 episodes. So none of that for this one. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear more, then please like, comment, and subscribe.
JayBee and Milly.